welcome to this episode of Biz Passion Voice. We have an amazing guest today. Their name is Martin Ricketts. Welcome, Martin.
Thank you, Monica. Glad to be here.
I'm so glad that you are able to join us today. We met each other in this amazing event, and so I'm so excited to dive in because I don't know everything I wish I knew about you because your bio is amazing. Tell us a
Thank-
little bit about that history and like just the different, how you got to those different avenues.
Well, I grew up in foster care when I was 7. My mom put me in foster care. In fact, my mom's Jamaican. She didn't want to have us in Jamaica, so she went to London, UK. But then she felt they didn't have enough opportunity, so she came to Canada. And I grew up in a lot of different cities because I moved around a lot. So my education was fragmented. But I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur from the beginning. And in fact, I ran away a few times from foster care. And when I did that, I went out and mowed lawns and did stuff to get money so I could eat. So from an early age, I was doing that. And I was in one foster home, and there was a bully. I was 13 years old, and so I said, I'm going to start karate. So I did. Unfortunately, the bully started as well. But he didn't keep going, and I did. In fact, I'm still doing martial arts. You can see some of the stuff behind me here, but I'm a black belt in karate. I have a 7th-degree black belt in karate and black belt in sword. And that really changed my life and helped me. My sensei, when I was 13, a guy named Ken Talek, he really helped me because, you can go down the bad road, but I was lucky enough to have him, and he gave me focus and something to work on. And so martial arts has been a big part of my life, and I've brought it into my business because two key things in martial arts are focus and discipline. And those are really important things in being an entrepreneur as well.
Absolutely. And and finding your own rhythms of focus of discipline is often what comes up because we often get templates just to get an idea of what are we doing from courses and all this stuff, and then realize this is not working. And you
Yeah,
have to figure out your own way through. So I love that you have some creative background as well with marketing and that kind of thing, because I feel like it helps you to think out of the box a little bit, not feel like you have to, they say if you follow every single one of the rules, then you'll be able
yeah,
to do the thing, right?
yeah,
So not having to be so strict and being able to flesh out what is working for you, I think is a creative
yeah.
talent.
Well, that's a really good point because creativity is rarer than people think. But yeah, I'm a creative. I play piano. I played trombone in high school. And I think one of the biggest benefits I have is that I'm an analytical guy. I'm a techie, but I'm also a creative. So I can talk to tech people and I can talk to creatives. Creatives have a hard time because it's very hard to monetize your creativity. And often they're really not into the things that you need to do, which is marketing and sales, which is a 4-letter word to some creatives. But you really need to be able to promote yourself and talk about what you do. And that's a whole different skill set typically to what creatives have. So in fact, that's been one of the things I've helped creatives with is monetizing their story. In fact, that's our key tagline. Make money from doing the thing that you love. That's what people want to do these days, especially young people. And you can. It's hard, but you can monetize your story. And that's one of the things that we help people do.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I heard that you said, so you grew up in Jamaica? Because my
No,
mom is
actually, my
Jamaican,
mom,
for those who don't know. Your
yeah,
mom is
yeah.
from Jamaica.
Your mom's from Jamaica?
Yeah, mine is.
Yeah.
Mine
My
is
mom's
too.
from Kingston, but she moved when she was
Yeah.
pregnant to London, UK, because she wanted to have more opportunities. And then she moved to Canada. And
That's
actually,
so funny. My
she
mom,
moved there
same way.
first, and then we came 5 weeks later. Say we, I have a twin sister, Michelle, who's on this podcast as well. Hi, Michelle.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so we came from London, England when we were 5. All I remember is being on the plane by ourselves, and I tasted pop for the first time. I'd never had pop, so that was
Oh my gosh. That is so cool. Yeah. Well, she did that before she had us, but she grew up in Montego Bay and
mm,
then she went to London, England because a friend like kind of helped her leave,
Uh-huh.
and she started her nursing school there. So that's their
Oh,
story, and
really?
my, my story. So
Yeah,
yeah, so that's really cool that we have that as a
yeah,
similar background.
yeah. That's a
It's so
neat
fun
thing.
how these things happen.
Yeah. But I am really glad. I thank my mom all the time, my natural mom, that she did come to Canada. I'm in Toronto because there is really a lot of opportunity here. And so you can do whatever you want to do in North America. And I've created a business that supports people that are trying to lift themselves out of poverty. I have a program in Africa teaching apprentice stuff, but I'm really passionate about that because meritocracy is a really value. I'm really into equality of opportunity. I want people to have the opportunity to do whatever they can do. And, you can in this world now, right? Anyone can start a business. It's hard, but anyone can start a business and run a business and build it with the tools that are out there, like YouTube and Google. So, yeah,
Yeah, with
Amazon,
the right
Shopify.
tools and the right support, right? So
Yeah,
it's so cool that you are here. We have so we have you are the digital samurai, right? So can you tell
that's
us a
right.
little bit about what that means and what it means to you and your clients?
Yeah, well, as I said, I grew up in martial arts, and so that's a big part of my life. Martial arts is about efficiency and precision. And so I brought that into a business we call Digital Samurai because we strive to create efficiencies for companies so that they can build their brand and monetize their story. Digital
Mhm.
Samurai builds end-to-end marketing and technology solutions that bridge the gap between what technology can do and how it's actually used. We call that the last mile problem. And there's lots of last mile problems in technology, right? I'm sure you've seen this uh, how to market, what sites to go on, what social media to do, how to do social media stuff. Do you do videos? Do you do audio? So there's lots of decisions to make, and people have decision fatigue. So we created a program that we act as the orchestra leader for the company, providing a single point of contact. And so then we go out and we vet the different people that you need to bring in a video editor, a marketer, a SEO person, social media, video, and all of the technical people that you need, as well as writing. So being able to bring together everything you need to build a business, that's our business, and that's what Digital Samurai does. And we're able to do that for the cost of a single manager, yet we replace a team of people. And we're able to do that because of these efficiencies and processes, and because we have a team of outsourced workers in Africa that we've trained that do the work. So our passion is to help entrepreneurs bring all the pieces together that they need, solve some of those last mile problems, and relieve some of that decision fatigue.
That's so amazing. I love that so much. When you're working to fill those needs, like what are some of the things that people are overlooking? That I feel like when people aren't able to make those connections because they are missing kind of pieces of the puzzle of what they need to know in order to make the
Yeah,
decision. Like what are
that's
they
right.
even? Do they
That's
even
right.
know if they're asking the right questions to find the right connection for
Exactly. It's about
software and
asking the
or
right.
persons? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about asking the right questions. One of the things that we recommend people do is we say we solve a problem most people don't know they have. We call it technology chaos. That is, I didn't get the file, the link didn't work, I couldn't play the video. These things,
Mhm.
any friction between you and your team, you and your data, that's technology chaos. So if you start by solving some of those things, and one of the best ways to solve it is to streamline. So we have a strategy called the doctrine of one solution doctrine. Really what it says is less is more. We have one place for communication, one place for notes, one place for files. And we have structure around how we do the filing system. I'll give your listeners a tip for filing because lots of people have challenges with, all this info coming at you. What do you do with it? We created a filing system that's very simple. When something's coming into your digital world, either you're listening to a podcast, you've taken a screenshot, you're downloading a graphic or something, we put that in a folder called On Deck, and we put deck in all caps. So on deck is a folder where everything's coming in like that. There are no folders in on deck. You just put things in there. Then the next step is, well, maybe it becomes a job. Now you put that in ongoing work. The folder is called ongoing work. And that folder only has folders in it. So a folder would be for a particular job. So you have job for McDonald's, everything for McDonald's is in that job. And then the third folder is content bank. And content bank is all your stuff. And then there you've got things like your logos and your taglines and your graphics, infographics, your video shorts, whatever it might be. So those three folders, ongoing work, on deck, and content bank, are places where you can put everything you need. And then the final one we use is called transfer folder. We call it just in transfer. And that folder is for sending things between your team. So everyone has a folder called transfer, and then you can share that between your team. By creating these standards around folders, on deck, ongoing work, content bank, and transfer, it's very, you don't lose things. So you don't put things on your deck. Because if it comes in, where do you put it? On deck. Now it's a job, where you put it? Ongoing work. So having these places and having this structure to put stuff simplifies your stuff. You can find things better. And we've done that for a lot of clients, and they just find it works much, much better. You don't lose stuff as much.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed that because I focus so much on my business, like everything is business, everything's everywhere. And
Yeah,
so it's kind of hard to find the right places for things. It's literally something that I'm developing a system
exactly.
for. And I love this
Exactly.
idea so much.
Yeah. Now, the second thing that
Absolutely.
you want to do with that is limit the places that you communicate. So I talked about this one solution doctrine. We have one place for communication. We don't use emails internally, right? Between our team and our clients, we don't use email ever. Why? Because it's not the best tool for the job. And one of our directives, again, this is the Marshall thinking, is always use the best tool for the job and always be as
Mhm.
efficient as possible. So email isn't very efficient for communicating. It certainly isn't efficient for sending stuff. You lose the attachments and things. So for communicating, we use WhatsApp and WhatsApp desktop because it integrates really well. It plays well with others. And really limiting the number of places that you communicate is a really good idea to streamlining and taking that friction out of the experience. We are client experience obsessed. And we're
I
obsessed is
love
taking the
it.
friction out of those interactions. And one of the best ways to do it is limit the amount of places that you communicate.
Oh, that's brilliant. That is so brilliant because yes, because email you have to go into there, so it's inefficient, as you say.
Yeah, and
I
especially if
love
there's
this
something down the
point
road
of
that you're looking
efficiency
for, right? You're trying to find
because it's a highlight. It's a highlight for me as well. Like for me, impact comes from efficiency. It doesn't come from like punching harder, right? It comes from effectively having that fulcrum, right? And
exactly.
so yeah, and so I would love to hear like some of the ways it has branched out into maybe building the system for the people that are you're doing work with in
Right.
Africa, or just something that you think would highlight it.
Right. So after you've kind of figured out this tech stuff and you streamline your systems, now you can go out and start building infrastructure. And there's a real key thing that I want people to think about. Are you chasing sales, chasing leads, or building infrastructure? Now, most people start out, including me, at the beginning of my business. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've been doing this for 30 years. But certainly at the beginning, we were doing lead gen. And lead gen, the bar is really low. You get someone to put in their email, then you follow up, right? That's lead gen. And there's lots of ways to generate those leads. You can go to events, you can do it in social, whatever it might be. But lead gen is the way most people do it at the beginning. And it works. But the problem is most of the leads don't pan out, don't buy, right? So you spend a lot of your time following up with things that aren't actually going to convert. And so it is really an inefficient way of building. And more importantly, it keeps you chained to your desk. I was talking with a company that we were going to do business with, and the guy was going on vacation. And he came back and I said, "How was your vacation?" He said, "Well, I didn't get much of a vacation because I had to had my computer and I was calling into the office." So he really couldn't get away because, again, he was doing this chasing leads. So he'd have to follow up and follow up and follow up. The other way to do this is to build a brand. And of course, all the big people you've ever heard of, Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk, Oprah, they've all built brands, which is they have people that come to them because of their name recognition. Now, that takes a lot more work to do, and it takes a lot more time to do, and there's no easy way to do that. But you really want to start building your brand. And you do that by doing things like this, being on podcasts, being guests, doing recordings. Now we do a LinkedIn every month. One we do a round table, the other we do it as a master class. But doing these types of events is a great way to start building your brand, even if hardly anyone comes to your events. And they won't for the first ones. You know, you can do live streaming on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook, and you may not get people at the beginning. But the bigger value is that you can then take that and chop that up, that Zoom recording. And now there's lots of AI tools that do that. And then you can deploy that as individual content. And in fact, you know, we've done about 20 of these in the last year. And then we've about an hour long, we've chopped those up. Each one, you know, has about 20 videos. And so the multiplication factor of that is much, much greater. So you do the show, whether or not anyone shows up, then you chop it up and you use it to build that brand. And a key thing you have to remember, Manfa, is you want to have a call to action. You don't want to put something up, a video or whatever it might be, on any platform, unless you have some way of the people contacting you. You can say like and subscribe, there's a link in the bio, that kind of a thing. You don't want to be selling all the time. You want to be bringing value, but you also don't want to just put it up there. You want to have some way for that to get to you and interact with your assets so that they can get to know, like, and trust you, and then ultimately buy something. So building brand, building your name recognition by putting out content in social is the best way to create a system and infrastructure that attracts people into your marketing as opposed to you having to go chase.
Beautiful, beautiful. I totally agree. And my theory on branding is that essentially you want to have the essential elements of you within your brand, so that you're not constantly having to shift them in case you may have a new product and or service. And because a lot of creatives evolve and they're
Yeah.
they're going to their next big thing, right?
Yeah.
And spiritual entrepreneurs as well. So yeah, so how do you think of branding? How do you do that take and developing that story you talked about in the little beginning? I would
Right.
love to hear more about that. Yeah.
Well, you know, Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, said your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. That's a really good way of looking at it. Your brand is your identity. It's also your reputation. And that's a really important thing to remember. Nothing's more important than your reputation. So, you know, there's lots of sort of get rich quick stuff out there. They talk about how it's easy, the easy button. You hardly have to do anything. It's done on autopilot. Be suspect of those programs and courses, because nothing about being an entrepreneur is easy and on autopilot. You have to put in the work. You have to do the stuff every day. And, you know, Kylie Jenner, very successful young entrepreneur, part of the Kardashians. I'm not really into that side of it. I don't really watch them. But she was on the cover of Fortune magazine and being the first, you know, self-made billionaire, youngest self-made billionaire. She got a lot of people saying, you know, negative comments about her on there. Oh, she's a Kardashian. She had it easy and all that. And she certainly had a leg up. But she put in the work. She was on Instagram, on TikTok, doing her videos every day for years. So, you know, she might have had an opportunity to, because of her family, but she did the work. She developed the program. And anyone who's done that knows it's a lot of work. So it doesn't matter what level you're at, you have to put in the work. Success is a matter of a few simple disciplines practiced every day. That's one of my favorite sayings from Jim Rose, I think it is.
Beautiful. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And what about like when you're building out that brand and you're showing up, right? How do you talk about having that consistent story or that consistent way that people remember you?
Yeah, that's a really good point because, you know, some people are really good at coming up with story and telling that kind of stuff. You know, I'm a bit older. I'm in my 50s. I did not, it didn't come naturally to me to do, you know, Facebook shorts and that kind of stuff when I first started out. I had to work at it. I had to get used to it. Some people are shy. I'm not shy. Um, but these days, you don't necessarily have to be on video. You could do audio and do B-roll and stuff, but you really do want to practice. And what we do is we make it very easy for you to manage ideas and information. In fact, I'll tell you, one of the main programs we use for this is Google Keep. Google Keep as part of the Google account, so you get it free if you got Gmail or Google Workspace. In fact, it's actually in the workspace. It's under the enterprise level, so you can use it for business as well. But Google Keep is really great at managing information. We call it the staging area for information coming into your digital world. You want to be able to effortlessly capture ideas coming into your digital world, archive and retrieve them at will, then share and collaborate effortlessly with your team and your target audience. And so we use Google Keep to manage information that you might be sending to people, your talking points, your elevator pitch, your link to your website. You have a note in Google Keep that has those key things on it. Then you just share the Google Keep note as opposed to an email. You could share it to someone's email, but better to share it to their WhatsApp or their SMS because those get open more. And so Google Keep is, as a staging area, is really great also because it's super easy to record stuff. It's 2 or 3 steps at minimum, and you can take a screenshot, a photo, a list, a note, an audio message, even a drawing. All of those modalities you can use in Google Keep. So what I tell people is start getting used to taking that time. If you're waiting for the elevator, you might jot down a note. I do that all the time. And then, I was at the bus waiting for the bus the other day, and I thought I'd jot down a note about taking back time while you're waiting for the bus. So that's exactly what I did. I did a recording at the bus stop. So it's really about looking for opportunities to add value based on whatever your expertise is, and then making content about that. And, as I say to people, creativity is messy. It's organic, right? Ideas pop up when you're walking up down the stairs or in the park looking at something or whatever it might be. So jotting down those ideas, then going back later and fleshing them out, that's a really good way to start on getting to know, what you're about and what you can talk to people about. But it takes practice. You have to practice doing that. And you have to make it as easy as possible for you to do that. If it's hard to take notes and to write things down because you don't have your tech set up, then you're not going to do it. So you really want to take the friction.
That's something I tell people all the time. Like, have a place where you put those ideas, because you're not going to remember them, and then you're going to be frustrated that you didn't remember that brilliant idea that you had earlier. So if you have an automatic go-to, then you can just get it in there. You can organize it later. You can find it by different words later if you have it in the right system.
Exactly. So that's a really good point too. We use keywords in those notes that you will remember a year from now. That's what I tell people. Put in a keyword in that note so you can find it in Google Keep, which has a great search algorithm. It's Google after all. So yeah, you want to put keywords down. It's like maybe your keyword is kid in the park, right? The more unique the keyword, the better. So that's easy to find. But yeah, make it simple for you to succeed. Make it simple for you to generate content. And the way to do that is to take the friction out of the process.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Martin. This has been an amazing interview, and I can't wait to watch it again so I could keep track of all those wonderful organizational tips.
Thanks,
do you have any place that people can find you, or do you have a free gift that you would like to mention?
Yes, in fact, if you want to learn more ways to leverage technology to your advantage, then you can go to monetizeyourstory.info. That's our site, monetizeyourstory.info. And we will send you a micro lesson on these things I'm talking about, whether it's Google Keep. So micro lessons are one of the key things we do. They're short lessons that allow you to learn and get action steps. So monetizeyourstory.info, or you can look for us on Social Digital Samurai, the one in Toronto, because there's a couple.
I love it. I have some friends and clients in Toronto, and at least Canada anyways. But
awesome.
So I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am so glad that you're here. Hopefully you'll come back and visit us again. You guys, I will see you on the next one.
Thanks a lot. Bye for now.